Welcome back to another episode of Void City Reviews. I am Dan,
I'm Toast.
and today we are going to be looking at a McFarlane Toys Raven Spawn action figure. This is from the wave of Spawn toys that came out in 2021 that also included Violator, Clown, Redeemer, and the Target exclusive Gunslinger Spawn. So, let's jump right in here and take a look at this guy. I think he's pretty cool looking. There you go.
It's like 8.25. So we did just measure because he looks tall.
He looks humongous.
And Gunslinger's the only one that I have, and I knew that he was pretty tall as soon as I opened him. So he's at least 8.25.
Yeah, that's gigantic. So that's far bigger than the Mortal Kombat Spawn, or the Kickstarter Spawn, or any of the DC Multiverse, or Mortal Kombat, or Fortnite, or any of the 7-inch figures.
Well, since we're talking about it, I happen to have Dawnbreaker right here.
Yeah.
That's
Little bitty Dawnbreaker.
it's huge. It's a big difference. So I think these are still being sold as 7-inch scale.
Yeah, that's kind of strange to me.
I don't know if spawns are just if you come back from the dead, you get taller.
Yeah. It's like the Captain America serum.
I don't remember that part of the comic, but maybe...
I mean, it's been rebooted and restarted so many times. Maybe it is part of it now. You never know.
There's a couple hundred issues that I didn't read.
And there's a couple hundred I did read, which still leaves like a couple hundred that I haven't read. So
anyway,
yeah,
he looks pretty good. So in the promotional shots, I thought he looked monotone, like he was
all flat brown, basically.
Basically, yeah, sort of a grayish brown. And once you see him, even in the package, so he's obviously out now, but
yeah, even
in the package, you could see that there was some additional color breakup. There are different browns or sort of different textures as far as this is leather and this maybe looks like musculature.
You're right. I mean, when we first saw the photos of this guy, the first thing I thought about him was, oh, the Golgothan got buff. The poo-poo demon from Dogma. He just looked like one big brown poopy man.
Right.
But once you see him, the cape and the helmet and everything, those are different colors. This part's still a little flattish to me, but the other parts break up enough where you can see it. And the sculpt is awesome enough to where it doesn't get completely destroyed by having just one flat brown on it.
This is an impressive sculpt. But then you've got, and we're going to take a look at this, the original Raven Spawn.
It's a version of the original. It's the silver special edition. I don't know if that's an anniversary or what, but it's the silver edition of the original version of the Raven Spawn figure. So it's a lot smaller, but it's interesting.
And there's some impressive sculpt on that one too.
Yeah. I mean, McFarlane Toys is always, at least as far as sculpt goes, I think they usually get that pretty good. It's just whether the paint is applied correctly or not.
Let's get a little bit closer. So we have a really nice face, skull.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite parts of that figure.
Just
the
decaying.
face on there.
This is the sort of musculature that we're talking about, and sort of the Mortal Kombat Spawn has a similar sort of musculature where you can see what should be underneath of skin. I think
looks a lot more organic.
And then we've got skulls. Got a screaming mouth here
awesome.
That looks really cool. A couple of skulls on the boots and some screaming mouths down here. It's that type of detail that you don't get in the promotional shots, and it's one of those. It's nice to be surprised by a toy.
Yeah.
And not negatively surprised.
Yeah, like
tons of spikes as always, and I think I showed off the back of the cape already, which is layered. There's a nice layering there.
Like how it kind of looks like almost like a nasty skin, but also like dead leaves. It's got a really cool texture to it. Same with his like husk of a body. It's like all buffed out, but also like a zombie husk looking thing.
Yeah, he kind of like the suit, if that's what this is sort of similarly layered and pieced together like the cape. It's somebody put some thought into this.
Yeah, he's pretty cool looking figure.
And then the chains really pop.
That is one difference from the original figure, at least the version that I have. On the version I have, it's real chains around the waist, like actual metal chains, not just one big plastic molded piece.
Right, and I like that about the original as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But these ones still look pretty good.
It does look cool. Yeah. The nice thing, this is another surprise, I don't think I showed you this, but so this here is a separate piece from the main cape cowl,
which is very
and
nice
it moves separately. It gets out of its own way.
You could use a little bit of that and maybe some Batman capes in the future. That'd be kind of cool.
That flashpoint that hinders. So this is well done. I like this.
That would have been really nice on that Flashpoint Thomas Wayne figure.
So I had a problem with this foot. I haven't had a problem with any other of his articulation, but this foot has some detents that I don't think makes the foot level where you want it to be. And the cape is a little bit back heavy, but all of these things come with included stands, so it works out. And you use all of those.
I use the stands, whether the figure stands or not, just because I'm afraid of a figure becoming loose or just toppling. As any toy collector or figure collector knows, sometimes they will just take a leap, whether you think they were secure or not. They will take flight, and sometimes they have other casualties on the way down to the floor, sometimes they don't. I don't want to find out either way. I want them to stay on the shelf where I have them and not on the floor.
But it is otherwise standard McFarlane articulation. The one thing I had to do out of the box is this abdomen didn't quite line up with the skull on the belt and then the top of his torso, so I had to shift things around to get the abdomen to line up.
I noticed that a lot with the McFarlane figures, especially in the DC Multiverse ones. A lot of times that abdomen, just from how they smash it into the packaging, I think it gets a little bit off kilter.
Yeah, and then they got stuck that way.
Yeah.
That's the only problem that I had with them.
But it's fixed now, right? So,
yep.
Yeah.
It's fixed now.
Looks fine. Yeah, and I'll probably have him at least holding one of his weapons he comes with. He comes with this cool kind of scythe chain. It's all one piece of plastic, so he's probably meant to be holding both of them in some sort of an action pose or
very reminiscent of Lobo.
Yeah. Oh, this is totally a Lobo weapon right here. I mean,
yeah.
Once that Lobo figure comes out, he might end up with this if he doesn't come with something like that, because I'm thinking that I'm going to give Raven Spawn his other accessory, which is this axe.
It's hard to fit on screen.
Axe staff.
So it's very tall.
Yeah, it's humongous. It's pretty huge. And the reason I'll give him that is because my original Raven Spawn figure that I have here has that as well, and it's pretty much nearly identical in shape and style and whatnot, so I just want to have them both have that.
Some more sculpted skulls.
Oh wow, yeah, there's some big differences from this figure from the old one.
There's a sort of braided look to the wraps. A lot of detail went into this as well.
Kind of reminds me of the scythe from Death Metal Batman, where I feel like they could have put a little more paint just on the handle part with all these different pieces, like little skulls, and
for sure,
just something there to dirty it up, or maybe just make that sculpt pop even more, because there's a ton of detail in there, just like that scythe had.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's just all brown.
It's getting glossed somewhat.
Yeah. It could use a little more details, but it's still a fantastic sculpt. I really like it.
Comparison?
Yeah, let's compare that though. I've just been noticing some differences. It's a smaller figure, smaller sculpt, but I'm noticing that for all the similarities, there are quite a lot of differences. And this older figure, especially with the silver paint job, you can see a lot of these sculpt details. There's some really cool things about this old figure. I might just have to take a look at this guy too.
I think the first thing I noticed was the much larger spikes.
Look at his hands.
Yes.
He's got giant claw hands. His boots have way crazier knee spikes.
Very long fingers.
He's almost like the mini Super Shredder version of the current day Raven Spawn.
And he's got... Oh, those are full heads. Those aren't even skulls. Well, that might be it. It looked like hair, but no.
Check out the back, like his cape too, like the texture on it. Like it's a whole different type of a cape than...
It does look more
leathery.
This guy's.
It's crazy.
A lot of additional detail. And thigh swivel.
Do you have this figure, like the regular painted version?
I don't.
You don't? Okay.
No, I only had the silver.
Yeah. His face in there, like, look at that face.
Yeah. This is a really cool figure. And it makes me wish Todd is starting to do more artist-proof action figures like Warhammer. Yeah. And I think Raven is one that would benefit from just an all-gray release.
I did know. Yeah, I saw that too. They're showing there's going to be a bunch more just the gray figures, and it would be nice to get some of these Spawn figures. Maybe he's going to be doing that route. Yeah, so far it's just a couple of DC ones along with the Warhammer ones I saw now. But
so I think this is a more, it's weird to say this, but subdued version. Because the 90s one was kind of exaggerated, and I like some of those details, but this is more...
Yeah, he cut back a little bit.
I hesitate to say realistic either, but there's something that's a bit more subtle about this.
I think this figure looks pretty cool. I think it's a really good addition to that first run of Spawn figures.
Raven's a cool toy.
Yeah.
And he looks better in hand. I think we've said this, I know you've thought this...
a lot of his toys.
They look better in hand or even in the box.
Yeah.
Better than the promotional images.
Anyways, we thank you for joining us today on this review of a pretty cool toy. McFarlane Toys, keep it up. That said, thank you for joining us on this episode of Void City Reviews. As always, hit those likes and subscribes and leave the comments below if you guys have this figure, what you think of him, what you think of any of the other figures in the line, or of any of the upcoming second wave that has been announced. And let us know what you think. Until next time, I am Dan.
I'm Toast.
And we are playing with some toys over here. It looks pretty cool. We will see you next time.